Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. This is Fishing Blog number 42. And every time I show a clip of this tank, it reminds me that I really need to replace the valve that's there. It died off when I was doing the planter filter experiment with the ammonia, and I just keep forgetting about it until I see it here. I do need to get to that, but in the interim, I am really happy with this tank, especially these guys here. The Gardener are doing so well. The male, as you see, has some lovely color and some good body girth to them. And they're doing all the things they should do. They're eating well, they're courting. And so far all I've done is put in some Java moss for them to lay their eggs in. And at about the 2.5 to 3 week mark, I am going to pull the Java moss there out. And I'm going to put some fresh in. And we'll see if I can get any eggs or hatchlings out of the original batch. And I've learned my lesson. I will not be doing any more woodworking episodes for you guys. I'm just going to show you little clips like this. This is the workstation I was working on. And what I'm going to do, instead of putting screws into the top and holding it down, I am going to do dowel pegs. And actually in this case it's just doweling. And as you see, I've drilled 2 different sizes. I was testing them out. And I just cut regular doweling. And that template I showed you is just a quick something I put together just so I can end up pounding them in, or sorry, drilling the holes straight, so when I pound in the dowel pegs, they go in straight. And as you see, I just put glue on it and knocked them in, and then once they dried, cut them off with a saw and then sanded them down. I think I'm going to finish this the same way I did the desk, because I think it looks really nice. And we'll see how that comes out. And again, I won't really show you too much of it. I'll just show you the end product when we get to that. Now, I've been talking about this plant for a little while now, and please pardon the fact that I have really dragged my feet on getting the rest of this paludarium put together. But I am trying to get this part to work as well as I can first. And I found out that this particular plant, I was planning on replacing it, but it was pretty much not doing well because of all the bubbling from the filter I was testing out in this tank. The initial clip was through the front acrylic cover, and now I took it apart, took it off. And as you can see, it's much clearer now, and you can see near the top and on the right, it is starting to regrow. So I haven't given up on this plant yet, but I did go out because of the possibility of a lockdown, which is actually not going to happen now. All they're going to do is have far greater restrictions on the numbers of people that can get in places, but I still will be able to. I went out and I bought a bunch of stuff just in case, and I am going to plant some of that stuff up now because I'm really liking, first off, the look of this. The plants themselves are doing really well in the immersed setup like this. As you can see, this is the spider plant, and I'm going to have to do something soon about where those are going to go. But it's doing really quite well. And also I'm finding, because of that little bit of soil it leaches out, the plants in the tanks themselves are doing really quite well too. So I am going to try something a little bit different. I'm not too concerned now that these planters are or aren't going to work. So I'm going to make them a little bit more permanent. As you can see, there's a clip for it to hook on the side of the tank. And also there's a little guard right at the bottom that will hold them out nice and straight. If there's anybody who's interested in seeing how these are made, just put a comment below and let me know. And what I'll do is I'll do a video on what I go through as far as a thought process for making this sort of thing, and give you kind of some hints on what you should look for and do depending on what your aquarium is, and how to cut this stuff. All those sorts of details I tend to leave out because I do an awful lot of acrylic building here, and you guys see an awful lot of that. So I just left I tend to leave some of that detail out. But if you want to see it, just definitely let me know. I really like these 2 plants. The one closest to the front of the screen right now is a variety of fern that doesn't actually need really high humidity for the leaves itself. Most ferns require quite high humidity, like in the 80% mark and up. This one doesn't, but does really well if its roots are a little bit wet. So it should do really well in this environment. And the reason why I am putting it in the larger of the 2 planters here, where the bigger plant is getting the smaller one, is it, as you'll see here in a second, it grows by having a runner near the surface, and it will send up little fronds from that, and the more surface area it has, the greater it will do. So I am going to plant this near the surface. You can see the runner there now, and this will give it a chance to head out in whatever direction it wants. So I'm really hoping that this is going to do well, because I do want to use this and the other plant as well, by the way, in that paludarium build coming up. And also in, well, what's going to be right here. This is going to be where the indoor pond's going. And as you see, I have the acrylic. That's what the number is written on. And I'm going to be building that hopefully this week and getting that up and running. And I want to have as many plants as possible. You know, all the stuff that you'd expect in that sort of environment. So this is also going to be, kept for that kind of thing. The planting for it is going to be a little bit different, obviously. It's not going to have its, aquarium size to hang on to in that type of format. But there is going to be plenty of room for all kinds of other stuff that's going to happen in this. So it is, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to actually really enjoy that kind of build, especially now that spring is finally getting here. I think the temperatures this week are, well, definitely all above zero, and then I think they're getting into the teens a couple times, so it's starting to smell nice in the air, and it's actually really nice to have some of that fresh air and all that sort of stuff. So it is going to give me a chance to get out and hopefully probably in the next month and a bit start getting some various pond life and that sort of stuff as well for this sort of thing. So anyway, that's all coming up. This plant here I bought solely because I just really like the look of it. And it is another plant that, unfortunately, I don't remember the name of it. My apologies. It likes having wet roots as well. So it's going to do really well in both paludarium and pond builds. So it is something else I'm really looking forward to. And as you can see, it has really good roots down there. And what it does is it doesn't send out runners really, but it will, as you can see, there's one leaf that's kind of off to the side. That will send out additional shoots. You can see one almost starting right now. And once that gets a little bit bigger, I will take this back out of the pot, divide that, and I'll have two of them, and then, 2 makes 4, and so on and so on. So anyway, this is actually something I'm really looking forward to. I'm really enjoying having these immersed plants in the fish room and doing more along the lines of paludarium style builds. One other thing I want to mention before I forget is I have another question for you guys. This one is going to be a poll again, but it's going to be along the lines of a couple choices in builds and which way you guys want to see it go, and hopefully I'll get that up this week. I really enjoyed and was appreciative of the response I got from the first one. And this will give you guys, like I said, give you guys a chance to have a direct influence on what kind of builds I'm doing. So hopefully that'll happen this week. And just weigh in and let me know what you think. The other plant that's laying there in a little bit of a tube, I only bought because it was cheap. It's a Dracaena. It's one of those canes. And I'm going to try dividing that up and seeing if I can get a few plants off of it. That will be coming up again in the future, because this is obviously getting long enough. I really love the look of that plant. It is such a nice plant. I have to actually figure out what it's called again. We'll have to get a hold of the person I got it from and get them to let me know what it is. And this fern here is also going to do really nice as well. It stays this size, which is cool. I don't have to worry about it, getting massive. And the last clip for today is these angels. They're doing amazingly well. I'm very happy with this. I guess I can't really call them fry anymore. They're definitely into the juvenile phase of their lives, and I do need to cull these out and separate them. And by culling, of course, I mean I'm going to pull out the ones that I want to keep and raise up, and the rest will get a little bit more space, and they'll grow up as well. And instead of keep them for future breeding and whatnot, I will use them in clients' tanks. There are a couple obvious ones that definitely need to be removed for those purposes. There's nothing wrong with the fish. I mean, they all have really nice attitude and energy. But there are some. There's one coming up here shortly that doesn't have any pelvic fins at all. There it is, right in the middle now. But a lovely fish, and it'll do really well in a client's tank and live its life out there. So thank you very much for watching. I will see you in the next video, and bye for now.